Hello, everyone. I am Tara, and this is...
I'm Michael.
And today, we are from livingonadime.com. And today, we are joined by...
Some super awesome people.
Yay! We love them! It's Big Family Homestead, Brad and Christa. Hello, guys.
Hey, guys. How are you?
How's it going?
So, we met Brad and Christa, I don't know, a couple months ago, and we just feel like we were joined at birth and separated.
I gotta say, well, the folks watching this don't know, but Tara was getting on me because my voice sounds a little bit lower than normal because I'm getting over a cold. And in email, she was just echoing exactly what my wife would say. Do this, stop doing that. And I was like, oh my gosh, who the heck are you? And how have you been related to my wife? And I've never known it before.
Great minds think alike.
You and I are brothers, man.
Boom, fist bump.
All right, so they have a YouTube channel that is just growing by leaps and bounds, and for good reason, because it's really great content. I just really love watching some of the things you guys do. And sorry, I hate to laugh, but I'm just thinking of some of the funny things you guys have done on there, and it's just, anyway, it's hilarious. Especially the time you went to go deliver the soap, and they weren't home.
She wasn't there.
And the person that was there was like, okay, what kind of pervert is this?
Exactly.
Right.
Who is this in the weird white van that's pulling up to our house?
Bringing soap?
It's a little awkward.
Yeah, we make our own soap, and this woman had ordered some online, and we kept putting it off, and then we're like, you know what? Let's just drive it to her house.
Well, and we only live, what, a half an hour, 45 minutes away? So it was
So
silly.
we show up, and like you said, the recipient wasn't there, and Mom didn't know she bought soap, and who's this weirdo delivering soap in a van? So fortunately, I didn't have her come up with the camera. That could have been really strange.
Yeah. I've done that with our books. We'll deliver our books. So
Cool.
yeah, if anybody doesn't know, we have print books, and if they're in our local area, I'll give them a refund on shipping and deliver them. And I've had that happen before. They just look at you like you've grown 3 heads, and like,
That's a fabulous idea, though, guys. You guys need to be doing cookbook grams, where Mike can show up, he'll sing, do a little number. Here's your cookbook. What do you think? A little extra fee during the holidays? I like it.
Yeah, there you go.
That is awesome.
Oh, yeah, I could just see that. Not a good picture. Okay, so tell us. Yeah, I'm afraid. Be very afraid. So tell us a little bit about your homestead, because you guys started the Homestead Network, which we're a part of, and it's a group of homesteaders that we all get together and we kind of share our ideas. And not everyone is out on 25 acres, and you guys are a little bit more advanced in the homestead area than we are. We're in the suburbs on a 1/4 acre. You know, we got the gardens, but you guys have taken it another step, but you're still in kind of suburbia a little bit. So tell us a little bit about your homestead.
Well, we are on 1 acre. Now, before we go too crazy far, you need to know, on that 1 acre, we have a cow. We've got
a mini cow.
chickens. We've got goats, plural. We've got rabbits, many. We've got a big garden. We've got 20 fruit trees. And we're constantly looking to figure out ways we can get more food out of this 1 acre.
Well, and don't forget, we have 7 kids.
True. So when we say 1 acre, we're like stacking it vertically. But our channel, guys, is all about this process of learning. I mean, we've only been doing this homesteading, self-reliant thing for about 5 years now. And it was a complete shock to everyone in my world. My background is literally in Christian rock and roll.
So I have to say,
jumping around.
I about died laughing when I found that out, because I went and looked you up on the internet.
My hair is powerful.
It's like the two don't compute. It just doesn't.
And that's what happened.
Yeah.
In all honesty, I believe that God just all of a sudden went, hey, Dopey, I want you to start learning how to grow stuff and do things. And honestly, out of the blue one day, we were just like, I wonder what it'd be like to keep bees.
Yeah.
And then I started telling my friends, and they're like, Are you insane? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You're just recording studio guy. And so, I mean, one thing leads to another, but our channel is about learning all this stuff and going through it with you. And we're straight up an odd family to start with. So we're going to make mistakes, but we're going to go through it, and we're going to work with other channels like the Homestead Network. There's people on there, guys, that have been doing this from birth.
Yeah.
Danny and Wanda. And you know what? That's just how they live. And so we're learning from them. We're communicating what we're learning and what we're messing up with.
Right.
But we're all about the journey. It's all about going along with us.
So we have to ask you, and we asked Big Bear Homestead this, what is your biggest mistake that you've made? For them, it was not realizing that you had to put a cow in a stall, and she tried milking the cow, and the cow kept walking forward, so they'd walk forward, milking it some more, and then they'd walk forward, and then in the end, she finally got a bucket of milk, and the cow kicked it and dumped it all over her.
So about that.
Ours usually end up worse than that. Like, our mistakes are not really funny. Because when you're dealing with animals, something you think that might be a minor mistake ends up usually badly for the animal. I'm trying to think, what would be a doozy? Oh, no, I got a good one. Okay, if you are a beekeeper, the first rule of beekeeping, like some of you guys have maybe seen that movie Fight Club. What's the one rule? You don't talk about Fight Club.
Right.
Well, this is the first and most important rule of beekeeping. Cuff your pant legs. That's all I got to say. Yes, this guy right here.
Yeah. Just let your imagination run wild, because yes, that's exactly what happened.
Let's just say that when I realized where the bee was, I knew one of two things was going to happen. I'm going down, or that bee is going down. And right when I thought, I wonder if I should smack it. Oh no!
Yeah. Yeah, got him.
So cuff your pant legs.
It was just one bee, though.
One bee is enough to bring a grown man to tears.
I got stung the other day. I was cleaning up some flowers. I have some lamb's ear, and I got one up my shirt. Ooh. And it's not pretty. It hurts. I got it right along my waistline where my pants go, and for 3 days now, I've just been not very happy.
Yeah. Well, you're lucky it wasn't a wasp, because wasps can go again and again and again. With a bee, you're only getting it once.
Yeah. Yeah, so, well, that's pretty bad. Okay, so we'll take that to note. When we decide
your pants.
Yes.
I was going to say bees wouldn't be my first choice.
I want to keep bees. He hates bees, which he has good reason for hating bees.
Okay.
You got one?
Well, no, I don't have one. But when he first wanted to get bees, I'm like, you can have fun with that. Idea. I was deathly afraid of them. Any kind of flying, stinging bug, I'm frozen.
Well, now she'll go right up to him, no big deal.
I'll open up the hive. They're the most fascinating creatures that God has created. I
got to say, some of the things about bees that are just amazing. For example, have you guys ever heard of the Waggle Dance?
No.
Waggle.
Actually, I have, but tell us.
The Waggle Dance is a movement that a bee, when it goes out into the world and finds a resource of any kind, it will come back to the hive. It knows geolocation anywhere, anytime, period. It can come back, and then by moving around and vibrating its body and its wings, it communicates to the entire hive exactly what it is, where it is, how far, distance, and wind speed.
It is fascinating. Yeah.
Wow.
It's amazing.
Here's my question. Who figured this out?
People smarter than me.
Yeah, who knows?
Smarter than me.
That's what I always wonder. How do these people...
That's somebody sitting there for a long time looking at a beehive.
That's what I'm thinking, man. All right, so we're doing well, first of all, so guys, go over and visit the Big Family Homestead. They have a great channel. Go subscribe because it's really great. It's funny. They have practical things. I'm going to try your artisan bread because I want to try that. I haven't tried it yet. And I should give you my sourdough bread because we have a really good potato starter.
I'm working on it.
She's actually been doing that literally every day for the past 2 weeks.
That's what I heard. I should. We'll look it up in the book. It's the potato starter.
Okay, I will.
And try that one and see if that'll work. But yeah.
Well, I gotta say, pause for 1 second, Tara, because we get and viewers, people that are watching right now, I promise you, this was not put on. This is me just being impressed. They sent us one of their cookbooks, and we get a lot of cookbooks. Mm-hmm. And I keep going, I would make that. I would make that.
This looks really
good.
And
I just love the cookbook because it's not like, go get 5 cans of cream of celery soup. Go get this, and this. It's excellent. Mm-hmm. And I keep, honestly, I'm like, there are just a ton of recipes in here. She's like, because we were going to try to make one for ourselves. I'm like, now I feel defeated. I don't know. We can't compete. It's really good.
Well, the thing is that was my whole point in writing the book was I wanted people to be able to make their own cream of mushroom soup, their own homemade tortillas, their own graham crackers, their own taco seasoning. And what's funny is we have a lot of missionaries that will buy it.
Awesome.
Wow, because they want to be able to make it, when they go overseas or wherever. And we were just talking today that we have been in print for 18 years almost. And
I'm like 10 years old. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is, actually that's unheard of for self-published authors. It's almost unheard of. So today I was like, wow, I actually accomplished something.
Can we have like a party and cake? That would be good. Let's have cake.
Yes, let's have cake. Okay, so
at your place.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, no kidding. So we are doing a series on practical preparedness. So there's people like us where we have lived through, and I'm not exaggerating, we had floods 3 years ago where we were literally cut off. We could not leave our town because all the roads were cut off, so we had floods. We have lived through tornado after tornado after tornado.
Ice storms.
We have lived through ice storms.
We had no power for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, no power.
In the wintertime?
No power for 2 weeks in January. And
it happened more than once.
Yeah. We had a 2-story house, and I literally was standing at my window talking to my friend, and I looked out the window and I said, the trees are snapping like toothpicks. And they were just, it was the most, I wish back then we didn't have, cameras like we do now. I wish I could have caught that because that was the most fascinating thing. I just saw all these trees just toppling. But we also, when we were in Idaho, it was mudslides.
And the roads were wiped out there too.
And the roads were wiped out. But through all of that, we never panicked at all for anything because we were prepared. Mm-hmm. And so we're wanting to teach other people, even though we only live on a 1/4 acre in the suburbs of Colorado, we are prepared if we have a blizzard or prepared if we have floods again or something like that. And so we're trying to get tips from our favorite homesteaders of what can the average person who can't have a cow or chickens, that kind of thing, what can they do to prepare, and what are some of the top tips that...
Yeah. Well, first of all...
Oh, and one more thing. And what books do you recommend to help prepare?
Okay. Well, first of all, I think that one of the main things that you got to understand is just because you may have a cow or chickens or rabbits or property does not all of a sudden give you a magic wand that's going to get you out of harm's way or trouble. No. Because trust me, there are so many people that think if I just go out and buy stuff, I'm prepared.
Exactly.
And stuff does not equal being prepared. Mm-hmm. I've seen people that have some duct tape and a pocket knife who could make it through anything over some guy who spent $5,000 in long-term storable food.
Yep.
It's about knowledge. Mm-hmm. And it's about knowledge, guys. And that's the thing. Nobody can steal a skill from you that you've learned and you know. No one can take it. No one can say, well, you're on your own, pal, and just deal with it. But the reality is that if you have these skills and knowledge, you can be put into situations that will stretch you and try you. But it's a whole lot better than having stuff, because stuff can be destroyed. Stuff can be taken. Mm-hmm. Tornadoes can take stuff. Floods can take stuff. electricity makes all of your cool electric stuff go away,
Right.
you know? And, oh, well, then I have a generator, Brad. Well, really? How long do you going to have that generator if you don't have any gasoline?
Exactly.
Oh, well, then there's always something more and more and more, but skills and knowledge. And we can talk about all kinds of stuff that's practical that anybody can do. And I would say that one of the fun things that we've started doing together since we've been on this journey, and this transcends preparedness and goes into your life, because I think the big issue, guys, is that if you start living in a way that you're, quote, prepared, you're always going to be ready for whatever's kind of coming down the road.
Bingo. That's exactly it. People always tell us you're so lucky to stay at home and be debt free. It has nothing to do it. It's a lifestyle. We
Right.
are always going the route to save money. We don't spend extra money. And that's the same way we are with, actually, we're preppers, and we don't even feel like we're preppers. You know what I mean?
We're accidental preppers.
We're accidental preppers.
That's a great name. That sounds like a good book title.
Yeah, there you go. Because, you know, we just do things automatically that it doesn't occur to us. And that's what we're trying to get out to people is it's a lifestyle. And you need to start changing the way you think about these things.
Absolutely. And, you know, I think one of the I guess you could call them gateway drugs of the preparedness world, and I'm gonna let Mama talk a little bit about this just because I've talked a lot already, but is cooking from scratch.
Yeah.
Not only are you gonna save a ton of money, you're gonna get less chemicals in your body. But that was one of the things that when we started making recipes from scratch, it made us go, what about this?
Right. And you were saying about in your cookbook, people need to learn how to make cream of chicken, cream of mushroom soup from scratch. Because what if you don't have access to that on your shelf or in a store?
Or you don't want what's in it.
Exactly. The things that they're putting so much sodium in these cans of soup that you don't.
Well, and
Brad,
GMOs.
I mean, with his high blood pressure, it's going to put him in the grave too early. You know,
well, people don't know that they can make this stuff. They don't know you can make homemade flour tortillas if you need to, and taco seasoning.
Right. I didn't when I was growing up. My mom never taught me how to cook. I learned from his mom, and then by trial and error. I mean, it took me how many years to learn how to make bread?
I don't know.
I mean, it's no, come on now. No, we would have bricks, you know, and for bread. It's like,
and I'd be like, no, this is great, honey. This is great.
Delicious.
Try it again.
Yeah,
What is a different recipe?
Oh, it was agonizing. It took me so long. And that's another reason why we want to have our videos is to teach people easy.
It's not hard.
It's not hard. Easy ways. You know, I learned through trial and error over the course of, I think, 10 years.
Yeah.
You know, and just teaching them how I did it and how I learned.
And the tips.
And just tips. Okay, now look at it this way. And this is a little bit easier of a way to do it.
Well, and the artisan bread, for example.
Yeah.
It's no sugar. It's a sugar-free bread.
Yeah.
And if you do it the way she does it in the video, you'll have it in your fridge and you just take off a little bit of lunk and let it rise and poof, it's done.
Done.
So you only work for a short amount of time and you get a long benefit. I love those kind of skills.
Right.
Yeah, and you know, I don't want to sound like I'm pushing us too much, but in Dining on a Dime, what we did was we put those tips, like for meats and main dishes, we put those kinds of tips at the beginning of each chapter because people don't realize that if you have leftover pineapple juice, you can use it as a marinade.
Yay. Winning.
Don't throw away the juice in the cans of fruit that you open up. If you have canned fruit, use it all. Mm-hmm. Even if you don't drink it, use it for a marinade. And so you're right. You know, people don't realize how easy it really is.
You know, other preparedness things that, you know, we were talking off air before on making sure that people understand that we're communicating to people who are normal. And I thought that was great because the reality is we all buy insurance, right? Mm-hmm. We all pay money out for our house, for our cars, for our this, for our that, and we don't even think twice about it. We've got insurance for everything, and you don't even care. It's just it's part of life. But
supposed to have it.
But when you have insurance and preparedness, whether it's food, maybe a little bit of food on the shelf, maybe it's a way to purify some water, maybe it's a way that you can have warmth if your power went out. All of a sudden, now you're crazy and you're wacky and you're a prepper. Wait a minute, hold on a second. You pay for insurance willingly in every other aspect of your life. But now when somebody suggests to you, maybe you should have a weekend worth of food on your shelves. Oh, that's crazy. Crazy talk. And that's, I think, where you got to start. I think that's key. Think about the things that you can't live without. I can't live without water long. I can't live without food long. I can't live without shelter or warmth long. And those things will start to define themselves. And you don't have to go spend a ton of money.
No.
There's hacks for everything.
Well, and let me give a tip about that, because people think this costs a lot of money. But the kind of things we're talking about is when we had the ice storm and we had no heat for 2 weeks. Okay, we had enough blankets in the house that we had 5 blankets per person, that if we had to stay in the house, we would not freeze to death. And it was,
and especially in the area of the country you guys were in, is very cold.
We were in Kansas, and I don't care what anybody says, Kansas is a whole heck of a lot colder than Colorado will ever think about being. It is the humidity and the ice, it's horrible. And but how I got the blankets was I didn't go to the store and just buy a whole bunch of new blankets. When my daughter wanted a new comforter, I just saved the old one. And I put the old one in the new comforters, thing. Of course, I buy all my stuff at the thrift store, so, it was cheap anyway. But go to the thrift store and get a new blanket. If you're worried about bed bugs and that kind of thing, which that's the one thing we always get, I don't worry about it. I just wash them and I put them in the dryer. The dryer gets hot enough that it kills anything that's in there. So it's not like we're talking strange, weird ideas here. We're just talking about having enough canned goods.
Yes.
And a non-electric can opener. Remember, the non-electric can opener. That if you don't have power for 2 weeks, you can at least eat peaches and tuna out of a can.
Well, and we don't have a giant storage facility either. It's just like one part of one room.
Yeah, we don't even have, and we have all our blankets in there and everything. And that kind of, and even if you don't want just blankets, on Amazon, they have those little tiny emergency silver emergency blankets. We got one of those for everyone to put in a backpack in case we have to leave in the winter. They're $2. It was like $2 for 10 of them or something.
Right.
And so that's the kinds of things that we want people to realize. It's not craziness. It's called taking care of yourself.
in terms of like cold weather climates, guys, this was one of the cool. I like to think of these things not as preparedness. Actually, I've stopped using the term prepper generally altogether because of all those crazy shows they put on, Nat Geo with Discovery. And I don't know who these people are, but I know how TV is produced, and I know that they intentionally made them look stupid and crazy in spots where they probably did not intend for it to look like that. Now, that said, you can learn a lot from shows like that if you just read between the lines. But one of the things like practical preparedness, prepper, what is it to be a prepper? I don't think of it as being a prepper anymore. I think of it as just really cool life hacks. And here's one of them. You guys live in cold weather climate. It gets cold where we're at. What if you were stuck in your car in a snowbank? You can take a empty paint can that you can get for $1. Quart size. You take the core out of a toilet paper roll, you cram it down into there, and you fill it up with alcohol, and you nail it down shut so that it's airtight. Throw that in the back of your car. You may never need it, but it will keep you alive. Life hacks. Stuff like that. And there's a million of them, guys. It cost me $3. Do you think for 1 second, if I'm stuck in my car in a snowbank, I'm going to go, man, I really wish I wouldn't have spent that $3.
And I have been in that blizzard, actually. I didn't add that to the list, but my mom and my brother and I had come back to Colorado for Thanksgiving one year. And we were leaving to head back to Kansas in the car, and we literally got stuck in a blizzard like that. And we didn't think we would be able to get back to a town, and we thought we were going to have to stay in our car. And it was really scary. And finally, we were getting ready to spend the night on the side of the road, and it was cold. And because this was back before they had ideas like this. We didn't have the internet in the 80s. And all this kind of stuff. We did have things like Carla Emery's book, Encyclopedia of Country Living, but it wasn't like your hack. You didn't think of those kinds of things. And finally, a snowplow came by, and he found us, and he said, "I'm going to plow, so you guys follow me right behind." And we did, and we were following him, and we slid off the road, went into the ditch. Mom hit the gas because she knew that if we were in that ditch, no one would ever find us because the snow was piling so fast. We would be in a snowdrift. We would be covered. She hit the gas, and I kid you not, we literally flew out. I think the hand of God lifted us out of that ditch because we literally flew out of that ditch. And when we landed on the other side, headed back the other direction, there was a snowplow right there in front of us.
That sounds like National Lampoon's Christmas Vacation.
I know. And what's so funny? Yeah. And what's so funny is they had opened the school for everyone, and they wouldn't let us go into the school because we had our dog. And my brother and I were like, "No, we can't let James freeze in the car. No, we'll stay in the car with him." And we got the last hotel room in this little dinky town called Deer Trail, Colorado. There's like 500, not even 500 people there. And so these things really do happen. You can leave Grandma's house with the sun shining, and 2 hours later you can be buried in a snowstorm. So,
absolutely. You know what? You know what's crazy too is that, I'm not going to get into all the fear stuff because a lot of people want to go down the fear road. But I will say this, we live in an unstable world, guys. Yeah. Everybody knows it. How many countries have changed hands in the last 10 years? How many currencies have come and gone? And we in the West go, it'll never happen to us. You do with that what you want in your brain, but just understand that change is always happening. Yeah. It's unusual that it's not happening.
Yeah.
We've been in a zone of comfort and peace for so long that people go, couldn't happen here. I'm here to tell you, just open up a history book and look. And I don't want to go down crazy fear land, but just understand there's nothing bad about having a little food, having a way to filter water, having a way to do this, having a way to do that, and just have it. You know what? Know how to start a fire, know how to do this.
Yeah.
Well, and so many Americans have never had any of those kinds of experiences, and they would be completely at a loss. I mean, I realize different people have their opinions on what happened with Katrina, but the thing about Katrina is people just had no expectation that there might be some kind of catastrophe. And then when there was one, they had no idea how to handle that. And we have to realize there are times where there's going to be a certain amount of time where nobody's going to rescue you. You're going to have to be able to pull it out for a while.
And your kids. You're going to have to be able to take care of your kids. And like for us, we have bags because there's a chemical plant in town. Well, we have bags anyway, but there's a chemical plant in town that if it explodes, we have to get out fast.
Like now.
We have no time. And so I put in those bags a red long-sleeved shirt for everyone. So we will all match. And you'll say, oh, it's those matchy Christian old school people. No.
Hey, look, biochemical weapons, but they're matching. They look great together.
Yes, it's so I know if they get lost, I know they have a red shirt on.
Easy to pick them out.
In the winter, they'll have long sleeves, but in the summer I could lop them off, and they would be fine. And if they're on a bus or something like Katrina was, I can spot them easier. It has nothing to do with matchy. It has to do with finding my kids if I need to in an emergency. And that's where we get kind of frustrated with people. It's like, take care of yourself. You can do it.
You know, and we touched on something that I read, and it might have actually been on your Facebook page, but I saw this meme that just said, I grew up before the internet. And I grew up before the internet. And this is the thing, guys. You have YouTube and you have website after website after website after resource. And anything you want to know, you can find out within 10 seconds.
Right.
Anything.
Right.
Use it. If you want to, if all of a sudden you're wondering, well, how much should a family of 4 have on hand if I couldn't get to the store for a week? Somebody has that website. It might even be named familyof4foodstorage.com. I don't know. But
look it up real quick.
It's yeah, quick, write that down. Yeah. That's a good one. Let's do that one.
Okay. No. We would need to have family of 9.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We're more like the board.
So what are your
6 of 9.
Yeah, no kidding. What are you guys' favorite books?
Ooh.
Print books. Because what if you don't have the internet and somebody gets sick, or you just don't have the internet and your cow gets sick? Or
I will tell you what it is. You can purchase this book, and I know you'll probably have an Amazon link, which is great. But I will also have to, I'll be honest and say, if you want to print it out, there is a free copy because it comes from the Mormon Church. Mm-hmm. And it is a preparedness manual that is this thick.
Yeah, it's the LDS.
It is this
manual.
thick. And I'm not a Mormon, don't have anything against Mormons. Every Mormon I've ever met I liked. Right. But I'm not a Mormon, so I don't want people freaking out going, he's a this or he's a that. Just forget about that. I'm talking about the book.
Right.
Okay.
The book is awesome.
The book is great, and it's a big, thick manual on everything.
Huge.
And what's the name of it?
The LDS Preparedness Manual.
Yeah.
Cool.
And it's literally, there's charts in there that say, this is how many pounds of beans you have if you want to last this long.
Right.
This is how many pounds of this you need to have. Because it's part of their religion.
Yeah.
Well, and do you know
the Donner
why?
Party, right?
Yeah. Do you guys know why it's part of their religion?
I know enough to be ignorant, so I don't want to.
Okay, so we know exactly why, because Mom grew up in California and had California history, so we always learn this. You want to go ahead?
Well, I'm not.
The Donner Party, yeah.
The Donner Party was a group of Mormons.
Oh, I know the Donner Party. Oh, I didn't put 2 and 2
across
together.
The mountains or something, and what was?
So the Donner Party was going across the mountains.
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were in the Sierras, I believe.
Yeah.
And they got caught in a blizzard, and most of them died, and they ended up having cannibalism because they were stuck there for a really long time. And after that, they always made sure that it would never happen again.
And I'm pretty sure that Mormons I think they generally have like a year worth of food and supplies stashed.
Yeah, it's part of the deal. And you know what? I mean,
that's pretty smart.
Again, I think it's freaking brilliant. Yeah. I think it's great.
Yeah.
But actually, we'll leave it at that. I don't know a Mormon I've never met that I didn't like.
Well, and here's another tip. Also, my dentist is Mormon, and he said that you don't have to be Mormon to buy from the LDS stock places.
Right.
And there's one here in Denver, and you can just go and look it up on the internet. I don't remember the website, but it was just LDS bulk foods, I think is what I typed in. Mm-hmm. And so that's another tip. If you want to buy things in bulk, you can go there, and sometimes it's cheaper. Now, I found on Amazon, I did get some bulk butter and bulk eggs, because bulk eggs will last forever.
Yes.
And you can use them in everything. And so I did get some of those, and they're easy to store. But I didn't get a ton. I think I just got 1 or 2. But that's another tip to do that. And you guys had a really good herb book the other day, though, when I saw on your live show.
Yeah, that was
medicinal herbs. Yes, medicinal herbs, guys. Here's the thing.
Easy too.
Yeah.
That is just something that just sticks in my craw, is big pharma. And you know what? The thing is this. All they're trying to do is they're trying to synthetically make something your body can already do. That's all they're trying to do. They're trying to give you a pill that will spur your body to do something that it was already designed to do. Mm-hmm. There are natural alternatives to almost everything.
Yeah. So I have a good essential oil book also. So I think your herb book, which I actually have because it's such a good book. But I was into herbs way before I, got into the prepping, so to speak. But that and having an essential oil book and just a basic medical book. Like, it just went out of my head, the one I have. It's a super big one. I think you guys talked about it.
I think the prescription to
nutritional to natural healing or nutritional healing.
That's it. It's a fantastic book.
Yes.
You look up any ailment and it gives you the herbals or the vitamins or the whatever natural way to.
No, go ahead. I just thought of a great
natural
cheap tip.
way to help heal arthritis or pneumonia or whatever. But
talking about medical stuff, if you're trying to get some degree of a medical kit together and you're going, how can I do this cheaply? For bandages are really expensive. They're expensive as all get out because it's got to be sterile. It's got to be this. Well, guess what, guys? I'm going to give you a tip that you probably go, oh, that makes perfect sense. What is sterile? You can get real cheap by the truckload, and every woman has to have them.
Yes, we have that tip.
It's cheap, they're sterile, and they're big bandages.
And actually, I keep some in my car because one time I had we were in a really bad car accident, and the windshield cut my forehead.
Ooh.
Pretty much shredded my forehead. Yeah, I've had 3 plastic surgeries. Still look good.
Yes.
As a matter of fact, this was 30 years ago, and I just got some glass out of my head a month or 2 ago from this accident. Still, I'm still getting glass out. But anyway, needless to say, it was a very gory sight, and we had nothing to hold on my head until the paramedics could get there.
Yeah.
And I mean, I was spewing blood everywhere, not to be too gory, but that's actually a really good tip because feminine products will hold that, very well.
They absorb a lot of,
Yes, they absorb a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
Now, another thing, guys, for those of you out there who want to go to the next level, keep in mind, I'm not a doctor. Living on a Dime is not claiming to be doctors. Nobody is saying anything except go and look it up. You decide whether or not fish antibiotics are exactly the same thing as the ones you get from your doctor. Just that's all I want to say about it.
I heard you say that the other day, and that really intrigued me because that's one tip I have not heard, and my kids are into fish, and I'm going to check that one out.
We've got 5 different psyllins, and you can buy them over the counter. And they're identical to all of the big.
How long do they last? Do they say?
15 years.
And we put them in mason jars and vacuum seal them.
That's a good idea. Yeah, because I had never heard that tip till the other day, and that's on my to-do list to check out. So,
Hey, I was wondering, you guys were talking about books. When I was a kid, a teenager, and even older, I loved reading the original Swiss Family Robinson book.
Yes.
One thing I loved about it was the dad knew how to identify all the kinds of plants on the island where the family was deserted. And I was thinking having a book that you can identify plants would be awesome. Because when we lived in Idaho, if we had to leave the house and for whatever reason and go cross country, there were blackberries and raspberries everywhere. The thing is, if we couldn't identify them, we could starve to death, not knowing which foods are safe. And if you know the plants, it would be good to know which ones are which.
Yeah.
So,
an edible, to forage for edible plants. We have another book like that.
We've got some friends who've got YouTube channels that all they do is they call it permaculture.
Yeah.
They turn their backyard into what they call food forests. And there's very little tilling, there's very little weeding, there's very little anything. It's very organizationally intense when you're first starting it out because this has to work with this and that has to work with that. But then everything is self-sustaining.
Right.
It just grows. And a lot of my buddies are saying, look, if there was some major catastrophe in the United States, major, I'm talking like something bad, most people would die of starvation within inches from food and they'd never know it.
Yeah.
Right.
That's what.
I
That's
believe
exactly
it.
what I was meaning by that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well,
and I'm a huge gardener, so I know a little bit enough, But honestly, if I went to, let's say, Ohio or Pennsylvania, I wouldn't know as much because I haven't lived there.
Plants are going to be different, yeah.
Yeah, the plants are different. It's different. You can't forage the same thing in Oregon that you can forage in Kansas or Texas or Ohio. So...
And go ahead, sorry, Mike.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, sorry, this may be a little off topic, but one thing I wanted to say before we're done is, you were talking about skills, and I think a skill that's really important to develop is improvising. Because when we were in Idaho, living out in the middle of nowhere...
we had to go 60 miles to get groceries.
But we could not get people to come to our house for anything, and I had no skills. But one day, we had a water pipe break in the winter, and nobody would come to fix it. I had no tools.
No YouTube.
And I had to figure out how to fix this on my own. Well, that was a great learning experience. And if we can all just learn how to improvise, then when something isn't going right, like Big Bear was talking the other day about people who, in the storm, when they lose the electricity in the wintertime, they'll just let all their food rot. And he said, there's a bunch of snow and ice out there, just pack it in.
You've got a freezer. It's right outside.
Open your freezer door.
So just the improvising is a skill in itself that you can develop. People do word crosswords to develop their brain power. You can do things to develop your improvising.
Well, and like the other day, my mom went to her quilt bee, and her friend said, yeah, my daughter called me. They lost power, and she didn't know what to do.
Excuse me?
No idea at all.
I'm supposed to wander around in the corner until somebody comes to turn the lights on.
And, and it's things like that. Figure it out.
But see,
Get
like you
yourself
said,
a kerosene lamp and oil. It's $10 at Walmart for the cheap one. It's not the best quality, but it's better than nothing.
But it'll save your bacon.
Yeah.
And you know what? I want to touch back on something that we implied, but I want to actually say it. And that is this. Books. Physical copies, having it in your hands, not just on a computer screen, not just on a, think about it, guys. Computer hard drives die every day by the tens of thousands.
Right. And if you do get a PDF of a book, print it out. It
the
doesn't
important
cost
stuff.
You that much. Yeah, the important stuff.
But have a physical copy on hand. There's so many reasons to have them. Yeah. What if you can't get to your...
what if... Yeah, what's funny, because we hear people talk about phones. Oh, I'll just call somebody on my phone. When the floods happened here in Colorado in 2013, we knew some people in Estes Park, which was cut off completely in the floods. Well, all the phone landlines were cut off, but guess what? All the cell phone towers were also cut off, and nobody could communicate with anyone up there.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah.
So you can't rely on any of that.
Physical copies. If I am in the freak out moment and I've cut my arm open so bad I need to suture it and I don't know what I'm doing, do you think if I can't get this to work, how valuable is that book going to be now all of a sudden?
A first aid book.
Yeah.
My best. Exactly. Totally.
Yeah, just watch a few movies like Castaway and Lost.
Well, that's actually, honestly, that's next on our personal purchase list for our medical kit. You can buy pre-made suture kits and staple kits where it's already sealed up and just chunk, chunk, chunk. 30 staples. That would be a major wound. I hope I never have to deal with that. But it's like, it's disposable. But yeah, am I going to pay that $10? Yes.
Did you buy the whiskey to go with it?
No, you make it.
You make it.
Actually, you make it right here. That's what you get.
And one thing I did that people don't think of is my daughter got hit in the head with a golf club and cracked open her skull.
Yeah.
Well, to care for that, they gave me these packets, these sterile packets. They gave me like 50 of them.
Oh, yeah.
And
at the hospital,
I didn't even come close to using all of them. They're still sterile. They're still packed. And I have those in my emergency kit so that if I need them, they have the scissors, they've got the gauze, they've got the tape, everything's still packed in there. And so if you have a surgery or an operation, whatever, that's another way. Save those things.
Amen.
And don't throw them away. People just throw them away, but save them, and you can really save yourself maybe someday. So, all right, well, that sounds good, guys. We've almost hit an hour now, which, of course, we always do because, we could chat for hours.
Because you guys are so awesome.
I just love you, man. All right, so everybody, please go visit the Big Family Homestead. Their YouTube channel is great, and you can tell they have some really good ideas. And, I think we need to start our own channel together. And do you guys have any houses for sale in your neighborhood?
Do we have what houses?
Yeah, for
you
sale?
can buy ours. We're moving to Texas.
Oh, what?
I don't know.
Texas? He's from Texas. We lived there 6 months. That was all I could handle.
Well, I guess they say Texas is going to be its own country. I don't know. We'll see.
That's true. That's true.
I thought that's where you were going with that, Brad.
I don't know. I'll tell you what. One thing I do know, guys, and this I got to recap. Don't feel like just because this is how it's been for the last 10 years, 20 years in this country, this society, that is always going to stay that same way. Right. Look around the world. How many countries are on fire? Yeah. Literally right now while you guys are watching this interview. It can change in a dime. And just because we have security, look, what happened to Rome? What happened to all of these empires? Yeah. Get some skills. Get some basic stuff. And it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. People go, oh, I can't spend. No. Get on YouTube. They've got a million ways to save you a bunch of money on living on a dime. Yeah. We can do all these things together. Let's just pull together.
Well, and instead of wasting time watching the Kardashians, watch some videos on how to do some things. Improve your life instead of just watching junk all the time. That's what we do all the time. We sit and watch the good stuff instead of filling our minds with, horse manure. We fill it with. Yeah, we fill it with stuff to help us build up and learn skills and that kind of thing, So anyway, all right, it's been great talking to you. We will see you guys later. Please visit us at livingonadime.com. Visit them at the Big Family Homestead on YouTube. We'll see you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.